Welcome to Telling Like It Is, League 4 basketball preview. That gentleman on the other side of the screen there, John McCaffrey, head coach at Deer Park. How you doing, Coach?
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. It's a pleasure. What we did this year, and Coach McCaffrey was a gentleman that made it really happen because I said to him, why don't we do a preview? Because I don't feel like Suffolk County basketball gets enough love over the years. So I said, oh, we got this podcast. Let's see if we can give our kids some shout outs and help teams and maybe promote the sport a little bit. So we asked the coaches if they fill out some information and if they want to come on. Most guys are camera shy, so it's just me and Coach. But you know what? We're happy to have Coach. I was hoping I would at least get one person on here, so it was good.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
So
I think some more guys are going to do it too.
Yeah.
I think guys are definitely interested.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun. It's just something I wanted to do to help the kids. I want to do it for. I was going to try to do it for lacrosse, but I don't really know enough lacrosse, and I know a little bit about baseball, but I got to reach out to the baseball guys. We'll worry about that in the spring.
Sure.
But so you've been at Deer Park how many years now, Coach?
It's my 22nd year at Deer Park.
Wow.
22nd year coaching and 23rd year teaching.
Whew. Wow. So you've been there. I can't believe it went that fast. My goodness.
It has gone that fast. It has. It's
holy mackerel.
Yeah, it went by in a blink.
So when you heard that number, that throw you off a little bit?
I never really counted it or kind of like thought about it, I can remember my first year at Deer Park. I started in 2000, and I'm sure you remember this. We won our first game of the year. We beat Babylon at Babylon 55-51, and I was like, oh, I got this. This is coaching.
Yeah.
And then we lost 6 games in a row in December.
Sure,
and
it happens.
I can remember there was this Y2K thing. Remember the whole Y2K thing?
Sure.
It didn't erase everything. Like our last practice before New Year's Day, I said to my kids, I hope this Y2K erases our non-league schedule. We've been awful. So I didn't even realize it's been that long. Like when you told me it was coming on the podcast, I kind of had to count it out. And
wow, that is a long time. It goes a long time. And so it says here 246 wins, Coach.
Yeah. Another thing didn't really have much of an idea about.
That's a lot of wins, Coach.
Yeah, well, we've had a lot of good players. We've been fortunate. You know this better than anybody because you've been coaching for so long. It's it's really about the kids you have, the parents you have, and how much work you put in with what you have. And
absolutely,
we've been fortunate that we've had a lot of good players, and we've kind of developed a basketball community, and been able to really get the kids in the gym year round doing the right thing. And we've been fortunate with that.
Yeah, well, good players, but you've always run a good program, and that makes a difference too. You can have good players, but if you don't have rules and you don't put the time in off season, you wouldn't win. So obviously, it's a mixture. It's a two-way street.
I agree. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. We all know programs that have a lot of talent, but may not have as much success, and we also know programs that don't have as much talent, but also have a lot of success because of the culture that they have in the program.
Sure.
It's a great thing. And again, I'm very fortunate. I got kids that are dedicated. All my kids are basketball players. It's their primary sport. It's what they love the most. We worked out this morning at 8 a.m.,
awesome.
in the gym, and, we had 17 kids outside waiting. I pulled up at 7:55 and they're ready to go. So, I'm lucky with that.
That's beautiful. That's a great thing, though. But then I root for teams like that. I guess they deserve their success. Then, for me, Sunday morning workouts are something that we've always done for years. This year, with the post-COVID, they don't let us in there on Sundays. But next year, I'm getting back in there on Sundays. It makes me a little bit pissed off that I can't get in there, but we'll take it a day at a time.
Yeah, no, we're lucky. That's another thing I'm lucky about at Deer Park. We don't have to, celebrate the administrators too much, but
sure.
At Deer Park, they let me in the gym anytime I want, And
me too. I have to say they've been good to me too, but I just, the Sunday thing, I was like, oh, yeah, but we've been getting it at night anytime we want. So that's been good. But this year, the Sundays is still holding me off, but we'll get in there eventually, but
enough. 8 days.
8 days. 8 days. So I like to ask all the coaches about their Mount Rushmore of basketball players there in the school history. So why don't you tell us about you could use any guide you want to choose your 4 or 5, if you will.
Sure.
Who do you have there, Coach?
Yeah, no, I got a few. First of all, the first one you'd have to mention in Deer Park history is Bob McCurdy.
Yes.
Bob McCurdy is, led the nation in scoring, at Richmond his
Yep.
senior year in NCAA. He originally went to Virginia. I believe he's a 1972 Deer Park graduate. The
Yeah.
1972 Deer Park team lost it was at that point in time Class A, the Class A Final Four to Brentwood. That Brentwood team was loaded. You may have heard of a guy on that Brentwood team. I
Yep.
believe Mitch Jack was
Yep.
on that team.
Sure.
Bob McCurdy would be the first one. He was our first Division I player until Aaron Edmeade in 2014. So Bob McCurdy would be first. He led the nation in scoring his senior year at Richmond and was drafted in the 8th round by the Detroit Pistons, and didn't end up playing in the NBA, but actually was an agent. And
wow, good for him.
He actually just recently passed away.
It's just a success story, no doubt.
Yeah, no, star. Then you'd have to say Kevin Baugh. Kevin Baugh wasn't a basketball player first, though. Kevin Baugh, B-A-U-G-H, might have had the greatest season in the history of any Suffolk County athlete. His senior year in high school, he won the Hanson in football, which is awarded to the best player, as you know. He won the Ostremski in baseball, which is awarded to the best player. And he led the Suffolk County basketball in scoring in 1 year.
That's it right there.
Unbelievable. I mean, I don't know how you do any better. He went to Penn State for full football scholarship. Nowadays, we don't even have kids doing this, Dave, as you know better than anybody. You don't have kids football, basketball, baseball. Because of specialization, kids can't commit to it because all these sports.
Sure.
But Kevin literally just went season to season to season and was, one of the best players, the best player in 2 of the sports and one of the best in basketball. But that season is, he went to Penn State, ran back a punt return in the national championship against Alabama for a touchdown, was drafted by the Houston Oilers, played some time in the NFL before he had at the time, what was a debilitating knee injury. So Kevin Baugh would be next.
Oh, great.
The best player that I ever coached was Aaron Edmeade. He's the oldest of the Edmeade brothers. He was really the guy that, put our program on the map, starting in 2012, 2013, 2014, we went to 2 county championship games.
I remember.
He ended up being the Long Island Player of the Year his senior year. He was his first Division I scholarship winner since McCurdy. And, he ended up going to Wagner for 2 years, and then he transferred and he played for Jay Joyner from Amityville, North Carolina. And then my fourth one would be Malik, his little brother, who is the best athlete I've ever coached.
Yeah, he was.
His senior year, him and Jordan Riley were the 2 best players in Suffolk County. Jordan Riley is now playing at Georgetown. He was a 6'3" freak. Malik was just as good an athlete as Riley, except he was 5'8". And, he was an incredible player. He was, all-state 3 times. He's now playing at Merrimack. Merrimack has an unbelievable non-conference schedule this year.
They do. I saw that.
Unbelievable. They're playing at Rutgers on Saturday. I'm going on Saturday.
That's great.
At Indiana, at Virginia Tech, and at Gonzaga. So,
way to go. Go for it.
Incredible. An incredible player. And he's playing for one of the best, Dave, obviously, because the sport. He's playing for one of the best young coaches in the country, and Coach Gallo, who kind of runs like a little bit of a revolutionary, almost like the Syracuse 2-3 zone, but does it a little bit differently. So I would say those would be the 4 that are, in Deer Park basketball history that I can think of off the top of my head. McCurdy, Baugh, and the 2 Edmeades. Okay.
Yeah, for us, Chris Carlson didn't want me to put him in there, but Chris Carlson's one of the greatest players in esports history. He's a 1,000-point scorer. But he's going to be pissed off at me. He's going to beat me up on Monday when he sees me after this. But I told him he's included because he's over 1,000-point scorer. Only county title he took him to in 88.
And played for Coach Race.
Played for Coach Race. And,
when esport was the Ducks.
That's right. And, it's funny because, he works at the building. He does the junior high for us and gives us such an edge doing the junior high. I can see junior high does it right. And, he's still around the program. And part of the reason I took the job a couple of years back was he said, you have to take this. You got to do me a favor and take this. So I said, all right, I promise you I'll try to fix it.
Chris is fantastic. He was one of the best coaches we had in the county.
Yep.
He did everything the right way. He was a great player and a great human being.
Yep. Yeah. And he's still involved in the program. And tomorrow we'll be at junior high practice together because we're lucky. We got the junior high in that same building. So we get to see each other all the time. And awesome. So he's my first choice. And then Justin Cross, who played with him for 1 year, 1,200-point career scorer from 89 to 92. Mm-hmm. He's up there. Chris told me about him. I didn't know Justin, but Justin Cross, obviously 1,200-point scorer. And then Chris told me, Curtis Smith, who played at Vassar College there, is now a lawyer and plays pickup at Madison Square Garden before COVID with the lawyer buddies a couple of times a week. He's got a good life.
Not bad. A little bit different than playing at Dayton Elementary.
Yeah. And of course, Dalton McCarthy was his fourth choice there. Dalton McCarthy was definitely a Division II, I thought, basketball athlete, but wouldn't play Division I baseball at Delaware. But after that, I came back home. But both great basketball players. Dalton McCarthy was a crazy athlete. I saw him make a one dribble move from the 3-point line on the baseline once and hammer it down. I was scouting them to play them, and I was like, uh-oh. That wasn't a good situation.
I remember Dalton McCarthy. Yep.
Yeah, very, very good player, great baseball player, and all good kids. I had them all in class too. So it's good kids. Curtis Smith and Dalton are great kids. So now, what's the greatest win you've ever had at your school, Coach, for yourself?
I think it would be the 15-2 game that we won in 2000. Oh gosh, I'm getting old now. 2009, I think it was. It might have been 2010. We were the 15 seed at Brentwood. They were the 2 seed. They hadn't lost a home game like 3 years. JJ Moore was their best player.
Yep.
Now, we were the 15 seed. We really weren't a 15 seed. I had a really good backcourt, but one of the guards on my backcourt broke his thumb. We were 7-0 in non-league, and he broke his thumb, and he was out for a prolonged period of time. So we kind of dipped a little bit when he was out. So, we really were not a 15 seed. We should have been, probably a much higher seed than that. So we went in there and beat them in triple overtime, 84-81. Brentwood hit a half-court shot at the buzzer to tie the game and put it into regulation. I put it into overtime, excuse me. It shouldn't have counted. It was after the buzzer.
Yep.
But you're not going to get that call at Brentwood.
No.
Their crowd rushed the floor like they won, but it was just tied. And the first possession of the first overtime, our best player fouled out.
Yep.
And played the second and the third overtime. We only had one starter on the floor. We had nobody left.
Yeah.
And we found a way to win 84-81 at Brentwood. So I think that would be the greatest individual win.
Yeah, the little surprise for you is that me and my son Gordon was sitting in the stands that night watching that game. That's how I remember all those things.
Oh yeah,
we were watching because that was an incredible game. We got there, could barely get a seat. The place was packed out.
Yes,
and it was just a great environment for basketball. And I remember JJ Moore, like you said, and you had a tough team. Your guards were tough, and you had some tough big kids who weren't classical big kids, but they bruised and they banged and they played hard and they did everything they could give you. And that was a great game. That was one of those great high school games that you see.
Awesome. You probably remember the half-court shot. That was definitely.
I do. It was late. It's funny because I saw Brentwood in 2000 in a league game at the end of the season versus Smithtown when it was a combined school, and they hit a shot after the buzzer and they counted it as well in a regular season game. It was crazy. So I've seen that happen twice now. It's
and I went into cardiac arrest when they counted the shot. I went ballistic. Emo Rowland put his whistle in his mouth, and my assistant at the time, Justin Gutman, was like, "You can't get a technical foul here."
Yeah, he's like,
"What did they go and win the game?" But it was clearly late. And Amel's a great ref, but Joe, and Emil did the game. I'm like, Joe, I said to him after the game, no way that shot counted.
Did you ever watch the replay of it? Was it good?
Yeah,
or was it late?
Yeah. But the problem was Brentwood has the light up scoreboard now, but obviously didn't have it then. You know how when the buzzer goes off the scoreboard? Sure. We synced it up multiple times, and it's clearly
that drives me crazy.
I'll never forget it too, because it was my buddy of mine who obviously from baseball, Jimmy McGowan, who I coach baseball with at Eastport. He was at the game, and he's the best, but he's always going to tell you how he feels. So you win the game in triple overtime. I'm drenched in sweat. All I'm thinking about is we got to get back. I got to get a shower, go get something to eat. This is awesome. So he says to me, he goes, "I can't believe you didn't foul." I go, Jimmy, I should have fouled, but the kid was in the backcourt. What do you want me to foul a kid in the backcourt? I guess we should have. So he said, "I can't believe you didn't foul there, +3. And as soon as the kid, Emil Rowland was right in front of me. So as soon as the kid lifted up to take the shot, I said to Emil, I saw him lift his arm, and I go, "You're not going to count." And he banked it in. I immediately saw it happen. I'm like, "Emil, you're not going to count this." And he counted it. And we thought it was to help them out. how can you tell? I mean, there's
And
no
true. Very
light-up
true.
scoreboard. There's no the place had 2,000 people in it.
Sure.
You can't tell. Like, how can you tell? So
The funny thing is though, is that the foul thing is a personal choice. Like for me, like I don't know. I still don't like foul at the high school level. I guess maybe at the college level with the shooting is even being better. It depends on the team you're playing. I think I like to foul in some situations, but I've seen it backfire both ways. But to me, like, I don't know. I feel like I got to do less right to beat you if I don't foul.
You know what? See, I'm normally an automatic foul guy. I've had this
Right.
conversation with Chris Rube at Kings Park. I've had this conversation with the lawyer, this
Sure.
conversation with Ryan a million times. Ryan McNeely, my
Sure.
buddy at Mount Sinai. I didn't foul there. You were at the game.
Yep.
We were out. We were down 4 starters.
Yep.
We had no size left. We had all our backup big kids in.
Right.
And my fear was if I foul here and extend the game, I'm
JJ Moore.
going to get the second shot. They have JJ Moore. And then I have to inbound the ball. Like, if you remember, I only had 1 guard left on the floor. I was like, I'm not going to get the ball in bounds again.
Yeah,
like,
I hear you.
so we were kind of, and we had played Brentwood the whole game to kind of like get off them and pack the paint and make them shoot.
Sure.
And they did not shoot the ball well all night. But Jimmy said to me at the game, I can't believe you didn't foul. You know? It's so funny.
Yeah. I've had this argument with all the same people. To me, like I got to get 1 stop. And to me, like the clock is my best friend. So I look at it like this. The clock is my best friend, and I got to do one thing right. And I don't have to rely on any zebras because now I got to block out on the free throw line. And it just brings too many things into it for me. I got to do one thing. That's what I look at. Yeah.
I've gone back and forth. We had 2 games in the past. We've played Smithtown West in the playoffs, I think 4 out of the last 5 years.
Yeah, a lot of times. Yeah.
5 out of the last 7.
Sure.
And 2 of those games, we were +3 with under 5 seconds, and we fouled intentionally both times.
Sure, I remember that.
But that was different situations. You know, I had Malik. I knew I was going to get the ball in bounds. You know, they weren't at the time enormous. I thought I could rebound the miss.
Sure.
But in that Brentwood situation, we did not foul. And of course, just like you do, we drill it. But in that case, we didn't foul, and the kid banked it from half court. It was great.
Oh, man. I tell you.
You know, we ended up finding a way to win the game, which, you know, it was borderline a miracle. Like, one of those games. You've had a million of them where you're walking off the floor and you're like, I have no idea how we won that game.
No, but it's one of those nights you always remember. And technically after they tie it, you should lose that game. But the kids found 100%. A way to dig. The kids found a way to dig deep.
It was funny too. My best player fouled out on the first possession of the first overtime on a block out on a free throw. So, I didn't like that call either. Whatever. But we figured out a way to win, and we were fortunate, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've only been at our school for 2 seasons and 3 games. So for me, I don't have a lot of experience to speak of, but at eSport. But believe it or not, last year waiting 385 days because we got COVIDed out our first 7 games.
Yep.
And having to wait 385 days to play and then going and winning a game on the road, that meant a lot to me because I had 13 guys back from the year before. So it's and West Babb is not an easy place to play.
No.
So that was a good win for us, and it doesn't compare to the one you're talking about, obviously. But I was like, 385 days. It felt like we waited just forever.
And West Babb had been playing the whole season, and you had to jump in cold turkey, and that's not. You know how it goes first games.
I know. And we played really well. We were up like 12-15 the whole game. It was just very solid. I mean, we could even play a little better, but the kids just played with poise. And your man Mike Schluzzi hit a bunch of threes.
Mike, our guy, Schlitz.
And him and Turner hit a bunch of shots, and away we went. But
that's a good win too. It's not easy winning over there.
No, it's not easy over there. Weird gym.
Yeah, weird gym, and they always have good players, and
Timmy does a good job.
Yeah, they find a way to bust your chops, and you got a long bus ride. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, the fact they were 5 or 6 games into their season, that's a huge event.
Yeah, it's tough. Now, what do you have coming back for this season, Coach?
We have 13 lettermen coming back. We have 3 starters coming back. I think we have a kid in Preston Emmead as a sophomore. He's as good a guard as there is in the county, in my opinion. Last year, he was the player of the year in League 4. He was an all-county player. He was second-team All-State. He's got the bloodline of his brother Aaron and his brother Malik. And
his dad was a great player, too.
His dad was a great player.
For St. John the Baptist.
Not as good as he thinks he is, but I love John. I love teasing John all the time, too. I'm like, hey, it's okay.
St. John the Baptist. That's my first coaching job.
Yeah, I love teasing John all the time about how good his kids are, and they play defense. That being said, Preston was, he's got that bloodline. Everyone always asks me the same questions, how does he compare to Aaron and Malik? Malik is by far the best athlete of the bunch. Aaron was a really good athlete who was a really good basketball player and like a pure point guard. I used
I
to
thought he
compare
was so strong too. Very
100%.
physically strong. Just
Yeah,
very strong through the solid.
Yeah, we're very fortunate with that. We have an unbelievable trainer, and we have an unbelievable strength and conditioning place in Deer Park that our kids go to called Acceleration.
Yep.
And it really changed Aaron. It turned
Yeah.
Aaron from a Division II player into a Division I
His
player.
body was tough. Yeah, tough body.
Put together. And Preston's now doing that as well. And Preston might be the best natural leader I've ever coached in my life. When he was in 8th grade and he was 5'2" and he couldn't, he was still ordering off the kids menu and going to Sky Zone. He was playing in county playoff games and scoring 25 points against Central Islip. Like,
sure. Yeah.
He's tough. Length, and he competes. So we have Preston back. We have another guard back, Kyle Jefferson, who's an all-league player for us next year. He's going to be a college player. He scored 10 points a game for us last year. That'll probably go a little bit this year.
Good.
And then the starter we have back is a 6'3" forward that we really like. We're young, but junior, and his name is Nate Gordon, and he really kind of should have been an all-league player for us last year, but we didn't. You know how it goes at the all-league meeting. You don't want to.
It's tough.
Share the love a little bit.
It's tough. It's now. Am I allowed to ask you what kind of love Preston's getting on the recruiting scene? Am I allowed to ask you that?
Yeah, sure. Preston is been offered by Bryant. We've had several D1s in the fall to visit him. Stony Brook came in and watched him. I'm taking him to the Rutgers game on Saturday. He's going to take a little tour of the Rutgers practice facility. He's got a lot of the local D1s that are involved. Stony Brook's involved. Hofstra's involved. I think he's going to be a Division I player. He's only a sophomore. His brother Aaron was a Division I player twice, basically. Malik, obviously a Division I player, and he's still in his freshman year at Merrimack because of the COVID repeat.
Sure.
Preston, I think, is going to follow in the same footpath. I mean, he's a sophomore, and he's still got to grow, and he's got to get physically stronger and bigger and quicker. And all
everybody does, though. Yeah, everybody does.
Everybody does, but he's a kid, and he has all the intangibles of what you want in a player. And what you've been coaching such a long time, what it looks like when it's right.
Yeah.
And it's right.
Yeah.
He gets all the stuff. He just needs to polish everything else up.
Yeah. So that's a hell of a squad coming back. I've got 6 seniors coming back. Obviously 5 of them start, but 3 starters from last year.
Yep.
I guess Justin Turner's the first one, 21 a game last year, 13 a game as a sophomore, and then 6 a game as a freshman. But he's been, again, we only got to play 3 games last year. He had 28 in a non-league game, but how it is. But he's been getting guarded with man and a half since he's a sophomore. And when he was a sophomore, I had to throw these guys out there to the Wolves, all sophomores, and take a couple of lumps. But it started to pay off last year. But hopefully we can continue.
Now is when it pays off.
You hope. And then another starter is Pete Theodoropoulos. He's going to Lehigh for lacrosse. He's a tough kid. It's like a second coach on the floor. He's a great defender. Alan Flory's been up with me since he's a freshman.
I got to meet Peter, I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago at Hurricane Wings in Matterville.
Yep, he's a good kid.
What a great kid.
His parents are both teachers, so it's funny to talk to them all the time, different perspective.
And I know Alan too. Alan tried out for baseball with us. What a sweet kid.
Yeah, he is. He's a good kid. He's just got done with a wide receiver season, so he's been with us since he's a freshman. And then I got my man Chick Abalafia there. He's a really good shooter. I think the county's gonna be surprised how good a shooter he is. And then of course, we have other guys we could plug in there to start. We got Derek Messino. He's been with us since he's a sophomore. He's a tough kid, 2-sport athlete, going to St. Joe's for baseball. Justin Turner is committed to St. Joe's for basketball. So it's exciting to see the guys. I got Jake Cosgrove, another senior off the bench. He's going to Delphi for lacrosse. He's committed to them already. So it's a really good group of seniors, all intelligent kids, good grades. So really fortunate to have that, to have these guys with us. And then we got a good group of juniors, and I got Drew McGowan's one of our best shooters. He's sophomore, but he's him, of course. Great baseball player, but such a heady. People don't realize how smart a basketball player he is. He moves it out the ball very well, and he's dead red shooter, and he's just easy kid to deal with. I don't have to ever worry about him.
No.
Off the court, he's, I talk to his teachers, everything's, everything's the way it should be. So it's, he's right
Yeah,
across the hall from me.
I think you have a real good team that, is only going to keep getting better.
Yeah,
Obviously,
that's what I hope.
obviously last year you had a good season and, it was shortened by COVID,
Yeah.
which is terrible.
The
But
league
I
is
think
the league is so tough this year, though. I think our league is going to be
that's
pretty
what I was going to
competitive.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was going. I think we have the best league in the A's. To be honest with you, I don't really even
Yeah.
know if
I
that
think
close.
I think some other leagues at the top are really good, but I think depth wise, I think our league is pretty good. I don't think we have anybody. I don't think there's any nights off in our league. I think that's the
No,
biggest problem.
no, and I'm kind of looking forward. I haven't seen you guys play in a long time. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys play. Because you haven't been in our league in a couple of years,
Right. It's been a while.
at least since 18.
Right.
I haven't seen Hot Dog play in a long time. When I first started
Very
coaching
good
at
team.
Park, yes, I haven't seen them play in a long time. When I first started coaching at Deer Park, Kenny Gableman was one of my mentors. He
Sure.
was helpful, and
Sure.
I was in that gym a million times. I haven't been in that gym in a long time, and I know they have a good team. They've been butting heads with Kings Park and Hills West in League 5.
Sure.
And
Sure.
he's kind of got, it seems like similar to what you had, like a group that he brought up.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
they're getting older and now they get better. And then, you look at some of these other teams, like I've heard good things about West Hampton, that West
Sure.
Hampton has good personnel and a couple of good players back. And I haven't been in the West Hampton gym since like 2002.
It's still the same.
I went to high school at Miller Place and we were
Sure.
really good. And we could never beat West Hampton. That was back in the mid 90s when West Hampton was
Rich
awesome.
Race. Rich Race.
Yep, killing everybody.
They were in my league when I was at Hills.
Yeah, I remember those days. So, they were really, really good. And I haven't seen them in a long time. We all know what we have in East Islip. East Islip is a perennial playoff contender every single year. Rob Schwender's done a really good job there making them a competitive program.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
Every year. And he's in a really tough place to win because he's sandwiched between one of the best football programs in Suffolk County and one of the best baseball programs in
Yes,
Suffolk
he
County.
is. Yep.
And it's hard to navigate, hard to have kids for all three. That's not easy. And another guy that I would talk about, we already talked about West Babylon, is like Joel Sutherland at Comstock. You remember back in the day,
Yeah.
when I was a little kid, Comstock was the stuff. I mean, like in the 80s, 90s.
Tough kids.
And Comstock has kind of turned the corner in the last, say, 3 to 4 years because they've been in our league. And I think there's a big difference between a good team versus a good program.
Sure.
A good team is, they have a good class and they stay together for a couple of years, but
Sure.
then after that class graduates, it falls off.
Sure.
But Joel has done a good job of, they've graduated good players and they're still good. And going to be good again this year. So
sure.
You hit the nail on the head. There's, we play 12 league games and, I think you can make an argument that all 12, all 6 teams could be playoff teams.
Yep.
And I think you're going to play 12 playoff games every night.
That's I mean, Comstock's got Walsh is a really tough kid. I mean, I think he could definitely play in college. I mean, he's a tough physical kid. He's a multi-sport kid. So his dad was a great player. So, I mean, he's got some toughness right there. They got the 6'4" kid back from St. John the Baptist. He's going to be tough. They got Kenny Hanlon's son's a good player there. He does a lot of good things, Jack Hanlon. I mean, so they're gonna be a pain in the ass at Hop Hog. I'm right around the corner from them where I live, and we played them in the spring a couple of times. So Brad's got them running some great Villanova type offense, and they're really good in their sets. They're very aggressive. They're physical. They're tough. I mean, I think that's like the team Kenny had in 1999. Just very tough team. Very strong. Very very well coached and very disciplined. They do a great job. So it's going to be a bear. And like you said, West Bab's always going to be tough over there. I mean, like I said, it's a situation where the league is going to be really rough. And like you said, Rob does a great job. So it's going to be a fight every night.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it in a sick way.
Yeah. You mentioned about our non-league and that, people always ask me about that because we've had some years where we play a really hard non-league and we go 2-4 or 3-3.
Sure.
I kind of look at the non-league as getting you ready for league play. And, I try and find, teams that match up with the teams we play in league. And I want us to get punched in the mouth a little bit. Cause if you play a non-league schedule where you don't get challenged until January, and then you walk into a gym against a good team against Eastport or something, and, you fall behind. How do I react? Well, if you've been knocked in the mouth a little bit, you
Yeah.
can kind of, wipe your mouth and go to work.
Yeah. Well, the
Uh,
thing too is that's why I always try to play a couple of double A's, just where I think I got three of them this year. But I mean, you always, I think it's important because the other thing about the East End that's weird there's like some rivalries like you have to play. It's like kind of weird.
yep,
Like when I got the Eastport job, they're like, well, you have to play West Hampton every year. This year they're in that league.
sure.
And then of course Rocky Point's up the road. Obviously we scrimmage Shoreham because me and Kevin are friends. So like we play everybody who's right there. You got to play all the
He's a good
teams that are over
scrimmage.
there.
Kevin's a good scrimmage
Yeah,
though,
it
because he
is.
runs a
Yeah,
lot of good stuff and he puts you
yeah,
through, makes your
yeah.
defense work.
So we always got to play those teams out there, and Floyd's on one side of us, Longwood's on the other, but they're a lot bigger than we are. So we kind of we've played Floyd in the past, but this year we're not playing them. But
Yeah.
there's always some pressure. The East End is weird that way. It's got these little rivalry games that you're supposed to play, and then
Yeah.
before I got the job, Pete and Chris used to always play. Hampton Bays and Eastport would always play. So
Yep.
you inherit these like rivalries from the past. So it's kind of I know that when I coached in the West End, I didn't feel that pressure because the leagues change a lot. But out east, it's like a different vibe. You have to play these games, so it's kind of
Yeah.
cool in some ways and kind of tough in some other ways. But
No
so
doubt.
what would you say your expectations are for your season here?
My expectations, like I think one of the things, like I said in the beginning, that we're very fortunate with is I have like all basketball players. Like
Yeah, that helps a
our
lot.
kids are all basketball players first.
Sure,
Like our football team made the playoffs for the first time in a few years on Friday, and people were at, well, how many basketball kids you have on the football team? I have a handful, but
sure,
those kids are football kids first, and then they
sure,
also play basketball. Like
sure,
I'm fortunate that my basketball kids are basketball kids,
sure.
and
That helps a lot.
I think like my biggest thing is like where we start versus where we finish. Like we've
Sure,
had a really good off season. So, we've played 40 games, we've had 90 plus workouts, like we've been in the gym a lot. So
good.
like we're not really doing anything in terms of like running offense or defense. We're just
Sure,
playing,
but to
but
get to
we're
get to know each other, it's more important that they play together.
100%. And we're competing and we're playing and we're getting better. And so like my biggest thing would be like where we start versus where we finish. Like I fully expect with our scrimmage schedule and our non-league schedule that we're going to face some adversity.
Sure,
And I think it's a good thing, to be honest with you. And I think it'll challenge us and I think it'll get us ready. And my biggest expectation is December 1st, I expect to be at a certain level. January 1st, I expect to be at another level. And February 1st, I expect to be at another level. That's really
sure,
kind of our
sure.
expectation.
Yeah, but I'm looking at your non-league schedule here. Obviously, Brentwood, we know how good they are. Uniondale is always one of the best programs on the island. St. Joe's by the Sea, Staten Island, always a tough game. North Bav is always really tough. Hills
It's
West,
one of those games we have to play. You said
yeah,
your end
yeah,
game. We have to play North Bound. We play them
yeah. Well,
every year.
Hills West, you guys have always battled Hills West in league, so now you're a non-league. You got to play them. Smithtown
Yep,
West or Comac. I mean, Smithtown West got the tough big kid, and they got Tyler Anderson in the backcourt. And
correct.
then you got Comac, who's Pete Smith does an amazing job there. And then one of my favorite guys, Bob Semino at Mount Vernon. I mean, you can't not gonna see much better talent than that. I mean, Jesus Lord.
No.
I mean,
Yep.
and of course Baldwin, Darius Burton. I mean, so you're not gonna get a tougher non-league than that.
Yeah. No. We kind of try to check off every box. Like
Sure,
Smithtown West plays a very particular way. And
sure,
you have to deal with the Division I big kid
right,
and they pass the ball very well. And Baldwin is going to zone press you, so you have to
yep,
deal with zone pressure
sure,
and like so we try to check off every box and
sure,
play the majority of them on the road. I'm
sure,
sure you feel the same way.
sure.
I'd much rather go on the road because all I have to do when I get on the road is get on the bus and go. At home you got to worry about a million things, so
Yep,
we'd rather
yep,
go on the road. Plus when you go to Brentwood and you play Brentwood on the road to open your season, it sets you up to play tough road games in league play. Like because you
yeah.
have to learn how to win on the road.
And in Suffolk County, you're not going to get, much tougher than that on the road like that. So the
No,
thing is, like in the A's this year, I think the A's are particularly deep this year. I really,
great.
I really think the sleeper team is, obviously you guys in Hot Pog, I think in our league are the best two teams. But then after that, I think Mount Sinai is going to be a bear. I watched them
Yeah,
twice over the summer.
yep. They got a transfer in the kid Feinstein, Drew Feinstein from
Stud,
Port Jane.
love him to death. He's a great player.
Yeah, good player, good athlete, tough kid.
Yep,
And, Ryan is one of the guys, obviously I'm very partial to him because, we've been
sure,
friends for 30 years.
sure,
But, You know, I mean, he's one of the guys that you spoke about before, like easy guy to root for because he does
Sure.
it the right way.
Sure.
So, like, I'll be totally honest with you. Like, if I hope our season goes as best as it can possibly go, but my second favorite would be I'd love to see
Sure.
Mount Sinai have a
Sure.
really good season. Just for
Yeah.
Ryan because he
They're all
deserves it.
juniors, right? Aren't they all juniors too?
I think they are. I think they are. We're actually scrimmaging this year. We very rarely scrimmage and play. Like we kind of try to avoid doing that. But he called me this year and he said, "Let's scrimmage." I said, "Okay, let's scrimmage." So
Yeah, they're gonna be tough. I mean, I saw them. I saw them a bunch in the summer. I guess they're in the summer league was in our gym, and I thought they were gonna be tough. I mean, I like what I see there. They're gonna be
he's
tough.
got he's got good athletes and they play hard
They
and
play hard. That's the key. They play hard, and that's it's funny we say that, but playing hard's not a given anymore. So they play
no,
hard, and
no,
yeah,
no.
I think when you started 23 years ago, it was, but playing hard is something that it took me a year and a half just to get kids to understand. You got to practice hard. You got to play hard.
You
And
know,
I
it's
happen to,
funny too.
you know,
We had this conversation. I had a staff meeting with my guys, and my staff is all former players of mine.
sure,
So, they were talking about how, nowadays the kid is different from when we first
sure,
started.
sure,
And we all say that. All old people say stuff. Oh, these
sure,
kids are, we all say that, which they are a little bit different though. In
sure,
the past, buy-in was, oh, Coach Shula's the head coach. Whatever he says goes.
right,
He's the adult. I'm buying in.
right,
Now it's, oh, well, I'm going to listen to McCaffrey, but let's see if this works out. Because if it
yeah,
doesn't,
yep,
and it's not, assumed anymore that, just because, like you said, you're going to get buy-in, and it's not assumed that the kids are going to play hard. No, it's not. So, like, we've kind of learned when I was younger, that was, you and I grew up where it was, we were watching Bobby Knights of the world.
sure,
We don't do that now. Like what we just do now is sub you out. Like just go
yeah.
sit down.
It's funny you say that because I was laughing because I look at like the playing hard thing and like it's so funny. Like this summer, a couple of games I didn't really say much to my guys, and they're like, "Coach, you not really say much." I said, "Guys, you're playing your asses off. I don't have nothing to say."
Yeah.
I mean, they were playing hard, and I said, and a couple of parents here said, "Coach, I never seen you that quiet." I said, "When your kids play well, I got nothing to talk about." I
That's
said,
exactly right. When the kids are competing and they're playing the way you want them to play,
Yep.
win, lose, or draw, there's
Nothing
really
to
not.
say.
I
No,
agree 100%.
and
I
the kids
agree.
were trapping hard and playing hard, and they said, "Guys, you give me everything you got. I'm not going to get on you." I said, "You're playing hard." So I said, "Listen, just keep playing hard." I said,
Yeah.
"I got
Most
nothing to
nights,
talk about."
exactly. Most nights that you play hard and play smart, you're going to win.
Yeah,
Like, and I agree with you 100%. Like, and if you can get the culture in your program to the level that the kids are doing that as many nights as possible,
sure.
that's when you have success.
And like I said, your non-league is very impressive here. But like I said, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Like to watch these games just from a fan standpoint. Forget that I have to play it twice, but just from a fan standpoint, it's fun to watch. Like that's good basketball. All 8 of
Yeah,
those games there are good basketball.
we try to provide our kids with the highest level schedule we can possibly
Sure,
provide them because there's
sure,
also other parts of it too that are important.
sure.
Like you play the highest level of competition for your kids and put them out there as much as possible to compete against really good players. And from our perspective as coaches, it's important to get us ready for the league season because, like you said, our league is no joke. Like I mean, like
Yeah,
in Deer Park, oh, you're going down to the A's. We haven't been in the A's since 2004. We were in the A's for 1 year. We were supposed to be in the A's last year, but because of COVID, they mixed
sure,
us in
sure.
Double A, whatever. So everyone says, oh, you're going down to the A's. You don't have to deal with Brentwood because we've played Brentwood in the playoffs, I think 7 times. I said, no,
Yeah.
we don't have to deal with Brentwood. But to be honest with you, there's probably 12 teams in the A's that could be playoff teams, maybe 15.
It's funny too because people used to say that to me, and I go, "If you've seen, I guess back when I was at Kings Park and we would go to the A's, you had to deal with Harborfields in my league every year. Harborfields would have seasons where they
Awesome.
didn't lose a game. So I go,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to play Brentwood. I got to play Harborfields. You want to play Lucas?
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, like each one of those teams presents different types of
Oh,
challenges. I kind of was teasing Andrew Deloy a little bit. I said to him, I think the A's is a little bit deeper than the Double A's this year. I'm not saying necessarily that the
sure,
A's team is better,
sure. I know you're
saying
saying.
that, but I am saying that it might be a little bit deeper. And what's always been, the difference for us in the Double A's is in the Double A's, like you play a 16-team playoff
Yeah, it's
bracket.
one more round that kills you.
Yeah, and you can lose in the first round of the Double A's. Like
Yes, you could.
you know, you could lose a 14-3 game. It happens. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
don't see it happen as much in the A's, but in the
right.
A's, those 8 teams that are in the 1-8, they're all good. Like,
Yeah,
they're all good, and on any given night they can beat anybody. So I mean, I totally, we're supposed to be an A by enrollment. So I mean, like, we're going to be challenged in the A's, and we were always on the fringe of being the smallest double A. So it's kind of like,
sure. I mean, like I just like when looking at the A's. I mean, Bayport's going to be good. Kings Park's always going to be good. Hills West is tough. Amityville's going to be good. I mean, holy crap! I mean, that's a list of that's
Harbor
just four
Field is
teams
gonna
right
be
there.
good. Harbor
And then
Fields
you
is going
have
to be
then you
good.
have just there's so much there's so many good teams.
Durham, all the teams in our league. Like, there's a lot of good teams. Like,
It's
there's a
going to be
lot of
crazy.
maybe not
People.
any, like unbelievable, that team could go win a state championship teams, but a lot of really good teams. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if 8 different teams won the A's. That it wouldn't
Yeah,
surprise
yeah. Well, I think at that point, as a person who's coached in the A's and the Double A's a lot, because I've been a couple of places. Like I always think the biggest difference is maybe just a little bit of depth at the Double A level is a little
me.
better.
Agree.
But then it depends on what school we're talking about. Like you said, like you have so many
Agree.
basketball first kids. That's different. So depth is not a problem for yourself probably.
Agree.
Whereas
Well,
maybe Whereas
I think the two things are depth. I think the biggest difference between the double A and the A is the depth. And the second biggest thing would be size. Like
yes,
you in the double A's, you have to obviously deal with more physical size than
sure,
you do. Like, for
sure,
example, we've played Northport. I think we've played Northport 7 times in this spring off season. And Northport is, 6'7", 6'5", 6'5", 6'4". You don't see
absolutely,
that as much in the, but
absolutely,
and it is the component. And in the double A's, like Northport, they do this thing called posting up,
sure.
which you don't see in basketball anymore. Like, what a radical concept! You can throw the
Post
ball
it
on
up.
that thing that's near. What's that square thing that's near the basket?
Posting up.
Go
What is
down.
that?
Exactly, Coach. How do I play this thing? This kid has his back to the basket. What do I do? Yeah,
Posting up.
so we got to bring it back. We got to bring it back.
Yeah, so it's going to be a fun A season. I'm looking forward to it. It's I think the A playoffs are going to be a blast. I'm really looking forward to the high school season. I just hope everybody gets their players all through it. Hopefully, we get no COVID, God willing. Everybody is careful and make sure we're washing our hands and wearing our masks, taking care of business. And it's an exciting time. We got another was it 8 days till we throw it up? Week from
8
tomorrow.
days till we throw it up, and this, I don't know about you, but this is always the worst week of the year for me because
Sure.
I'm like half excited, but then I'm half like, oh my god, I still have to do this, I have to do that, I
Yep.
have to do this, I
Yep.
have to do that.
The panic sets in.
Yeah, the panic sets in. Like, do we have enough? Do we have enough practice gear? Did I place the order? Do we have enough basketballs? I got to go do this. I got to get here. I got to get there. And you start with the stress of like,
Yeah, you do.
daily.
Sleepless nights.
Oh, I was talking to Ryan McNeely last night because his kid and your kid played at St. Joe.
Yep.
And he mentioned, he goes, we're scrimmaging the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, which you always want to scrimmage guys that you're friends with because it's going to be controlled and,
Sure.
it's a practice.
Sure. Yeah, we're scrimmaging that day as well. And it's funny. I tried something new this year, Coach. Let me know what you think.
Sure.
I've always found, even high school, college, that the worst practice of the year is to practice after Thanksgiving. So I said to myself,
100%.
I'm going for a scrimmage the day after Thanksgiving because I want to meet it head on.
It's funny. I like that. It's funny. We play we play so much in the off season that I normally don't scrimmage a lot because I'm kind of like, how much do we really need to scrimmage?
Yeah, true.
I mean, I'll get one in there, I'll get two in there, but we don't have to do a million. So then what I started doing is I started pushing my scrimmages back till after Thanksgiving.
Sure.
And what I used to do, I did this like 4 out of the last 5 years. I give the kids 2 days off for Thanksgiving. I used to give them the Thursday and the Friday.
Wow.
So many of my kids were like, I'm going to the city, I'm going to New Jersey, I'm here. And I kind of wanted to give the parents a break. But also the biggest reason is exactly what you said. That morning practice is dreadful. Dreadful.
The tryptophan, is it, in the turkey?
Oh. It's the same for me. Like, I'm watching I'm praying, I'm watching football, I'm eating, I'm praying to God the Cowboys are going to lose. And then the stress starts picking up like, oh no, is everybody going to be on time? Oh, we have to work on zone offense today. And then the first half hour, they can't catch, they can't run. They can't.
It's awful. It's awful.
I have to go this year, the Friday, because I'm scrimmaging St. Francis Prep that Sunday.
Oh, coach, is Coach Leary still there?
Yes, he is. And
What a
they're going to
great
be really
coach.
good.
What a great
So,
coach.
yeah, great guy too. So we're scrimmaging him that Sunday. So I said this to the schedule, the guys on my staff, I'm like, we got to go the Friday after Thanksgiving. We're going at 10 a.m. Knock on wood. We'll see how it goes. But that's a tough day. It's a tough day. My Ryan McNeely scrimmages the day after Christmas. I can't even believe
Wow,
it.
that's aggressive. I like it. I like that thought, though. I tell
He
you,
goes
it's
at
not
like
bad.
8 a.m. too. Him and Eddie Miller, they scrimmage every year at like 8 a.m. the day after Christmas. Like, what are you
Oh
doing?
man, yeah. I tell
The
you
day
what, though,
after Christmas is the most depressing day of the year. It's not even close.
I think that could be good. I used to love those people who had those Christmas tournaments, like on the 26th and the 27th. Like, you want to come? I'm like, no. Who's playing the day after Christmas? I'm gonna suck.
Oh, dreadful.
I have to say, last thing before I let you go,
Sure.
I hate playing over the Christmas break just because the kids are out of sorts. They're discombobulated.
Routine.
The
I hate it.
timing is off. The routine is all over the place. I haven't found a good
Yes,
formula yet in 33 years. Let me know when you find one.
I haven't. Started doing try to keep close to the routine as possible. Try to practice in the afternoon, but it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work. Christmas break, February break. That's part of the reason I think our season is obviously the longest. Part of the reason that I think that our season is the most difficult because we've got to cover Thanksgiving, Christmas, and if we're lucky, February break.
Yes, yes. Okay, Coach. Well, I want to thank you again for coming on. And
It was great.
And I appreciate. I'm going to put this up in about within the hour. Tell your friends and family to check us out on. It's on Anchor. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. On YouTube. It's on Facebook. It's everywhere. And we're looking forward to seeing you. We'll seeing you along the way. And good luck to you this season, except when you play us. All right, Coach. Thanks for coming on. Take care.